Is live. YouTube is live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another wonderful adventure in the world of workers' compensation. Today, we're talking about surveillance. You've asked for it, and I'm going to give it to you. If you've got an active workers' compensation case, and you might be wondering, am I being watched? This is the video you want to watch. If you think they're watching you, you better be watching me. Surveillance is one of the insurance company's favorite tools. And they don't always wait for a good reason to use it. So today we're going to break down exactly which cases tend to get targeted, when surveillance usually starts, and how to protect yourself, even if you haven't done anything wrong. We're going to jump right in. As always, folks, if you have questions, feel free to post them on Instagram, post them on YouTube, and I will do everything I can to get to your questions. If they're on point with the surveillance topic, we will try to incorporate those into our discussion. Otherwise, at the end, I'm going to try to hit as many questions as possible. You guys always have great questions, but we're going to dive right in. Let me give you a little less view of my air conditioning unit and a little more of me. Excuse me. I'm just getting over being sick, so bear with me. But here we go. Why would the insurance company put me, little old me, under surveillance? It's not about you. And the one thing I'm going to stress throughout today's discussion is it's not personal. And people always take this personal. What the hell do they got against me that they're going to put me under surveillance? And what did I do wrong? Let me fix my picture here so you can see me a little bit better. There he is. People take things very personally, and you know what, they should. It's a situation that you haven't really been in before, whether it's a missed payment or one too many IMEs or surveillance. And people think it's personal. It's nothing personal. Insurance companies could give two poops about you or anything else. They're there to save themselves money. So why would they put me, in my case, under surveillance? Surveillance is just about one thing: saving the insurance company money. It's not about catching the bad guy, and it's nothing personal. If they think that there's a way for them to save money, to limit their exposure on your case, to limit your benefits, whatever it might be, they are going to do it. They're going to take full advantage. If it makes you look like the bad guy in the process, they don't care. That's what they're there to do. They're there to limit their exposure. Insurance companies sit at a desk behind a screen crunching numbers. It's numbers, 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 numbers. Everybody is a piece of paper full of numbers. They don't care who you are, what you've been through. Unfortunately, they're there to save themselves money. That's their business. The business model is simple: take in money, give out less. Whatever is the difference is what you keep, and that's your profit. Simple. And they want to give out as little as possible, and they're going to do everything they can to do that. And surveillance is one of those tools. What types of cases? High value cases. The higher the value, the higher their exposure, the higher their risk of financial exposure for the insurance company. So those are the cases that they're going to most likely tack surveillance onto to try to limit what they have to pay out. If you've been out of work for a long, long time without modified duty, that raises a suspicion as well. If you've been out of work for a very long period of time and there's no indication that you're going back, or you can go back and do light duty, or you can do a sedentary job, or that you've tried to do something and nobody's budging on your end, they're going to get suspicious and say, look, you had to have gotten better to some point. What's going on here? Something's fishy. So they might put those cases under surveillance as well. If you've been out of, if you don't need to necessarily do something wrong to get them to start watching you. Just having an expensive, high value, high exposure case could be enough. Having a case that's not clearly defined, that's also enough. Something where the period and extent and nature of your disability and your injuries is a little bit questionable. They might want to take a look at you in your daily life and put surveillance on you and have somebody check you out to make sure that you are actually living a life in accordance with what you tell your doctors you can and can't do, what your doctors say you can and can't do, and what you report to the IME, their doctor, that you can and can't do. So they're going to keep an eye on you, make sure that you're working within those margins that everyone's claiming that you're limited to. They're not always also looking for the smoking gun. They're not looking to drop the hammer. They're not looking for you at the steel mill hauling metal on your back. They're looking for inconsistencies, and that's really all it comes down to. And we see it all the time where the issues that they're hanging their hat on when it comes to a surveillance trial is, well, he told his doctor that he can only drive short distances, and his doctor said that he should limit his driving, and he only drives short distances. And we have him on surveillance driving to and from the IME, and it's a 15-minute drive or a 20-minute drive or a half an hour drive. That's not a short distance. Or, he only uses his cane when he goes to an IME appointment. He doesn't use it all the other times. His doctor says he should use it as needed, but he seems to only need it when he goes to see the insurance company doctor. That's suspicious. Those are the things they're looking to highlight. They're not looking to catch you at work when you say you're not working. Sometimes they do. If you are working and you shouldn't be working, or you're saying you shouldn't be working, yes, then they're absolutely gonna drop the hammer on you. But most surveillance is them just trying to catch you doing something inconsistent. Let me move you over here so you could see me too. I don't want the people on Instagram to miss out on my face. So that's what you should be expecting when it comes to surveillance. It's not always, just because you're not working, and that doesn't mean you're clear, and they're not going to put surveillance on you. If it's a matter of inconsistencies most of the time. If you're working and you've been telling everybody that you're not working, then you should absolutely be worried about a possible surveillance team on your butt. So just be forewarned. What kinds of workers' compensation cases are almost likely to get surveillance put on them? And again, every insurance company is different here. Not every insurance company does it the same, but this is more of a blanket discussion here as to what types of cases. So listen up, because if you hear your type of case or your circumstance or situation, you want to start being a little cautious and careful. And you should always be. And you should always be cautious and careful because you're injured and you don't want to make it worse. But you got to be smart. Total disability claims. If you're claiming to be totally disabled for a very long period of time, or if you're claiming to have a permanent total disability, you got to be super careful, because those cases are the exposure there can be almost limitless. I mean, they do have actuaries who try to figure out the value of a permanent total disability case, but the exposure is high. And if they can catch a person who might potentially be permanently and totally disabled, engaging in some inconsistent activities, and call them out as a fraud, and have the potential success of having a judge find them to have committed fraudulent behavior that would cap their compensation benefits, it's a huge win for them. And it's worth every penny that they would pay for surveillance and for a trial and for appeals and all that kind of stuff. So total disability, extended periods of temporary total disability, and periods of see my buddy Adam Alonso just joined over on the gram. Great guy. And extended periods of temporary disability, and people who are claiming permanent total disability. Be careful. They know that the bank is open, and if they could close it, they're going to. And surveillance could be just the way they do that. Long-term or life-term benefits. It's the same type of deal. Especially if there's ongoing, protracted, extensive, these are words for big, expensive medical care. They're going to want to try to show, well, the doctor's requesting surgery because he has herniated discs at L3, 4, 5, and S1, and he can't walk, and he walks with a limp, and he walks with a cane, and he can't sit down more than 5 minutes. Well, if they could catch you sitting in your car for half an hour driving, or if they can catch you sitting at a coffee shop with your friends, shooting the breeze, shooting the crap, for a long period of time, they're going to use that against you. If they catch you walking without your cane, they're going to use it against you. So they want to limit their exposure, limit their liability. Vague claims are also one that could open the door. Now, the smaller ones, it's not really worth it for them. But when it's soft tissue, or you've had multiple injuries to the same body part, or things are just not well defined in the early stages of a case, which sometimes happens, I get it. They might try to stick somebody on you to make sure that you're behaving in accordance with your claimed disability. Cases involving complex care, because complex equals expensive. Complex care, like needing a home health aide or extensive DME, durable medical equipment. spinal cord stimulators that need to be have battery changes years and then down the road, things that are exposing them to ongoing, long-term, expensive treatment. They're going to want to keep an eye on you just to make sure everything's in check. Workers who've had histories with previous claims, multiple cases, and we know this is a big red flag for a lot of different reasons. We've spoken about it in the past. If you're a person who's had multiple claims, there's nothing wrong with getting hurt. You got to be less clumsy, maybe. There's nothing wrong with getting hurt multiple times. We have clients that have been hurt 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I think 23 is my my all-star award winner. Nice summer beard, Rex. Thank you. Yes, yeah, I tried something different. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with getting hurt multiple times. It happens. People get hurt. We get it. But there's a suspicion in the insurance world that once you get hurt once and you know how to get money at a comp, that you're just going to go out there and do it again. You're going to throw yourself down the stairs. You're going to fake that injury. You're going to lie and be an evil person just to get money out of the insurance company. And if you have multiple claims, be careful. Be careful, again, for a lot of reasons. They for that first reason I just explained, that they're going to suspect that you're doing something nefarious to try to get money with a fraudulent or misleading or improper claim. But also, if you've had multiple claims like we've discussed in the past, make sure your doctors know about it. Make sure you disclose it on your C3 claim form when you file your claim form here in New York State, and make sure you tell the IME doctor when you go see him that you've had multiple claims, especially if it involves the same body part, overlapping sites of injury. If you hurt your neck 5 years ago, whether it was work related or not, and then you hurt it again in this accident that you're here for now, make sure you tell the doctor. And that's huge. Since we're on the topic of IMEs, also I want to make one point. A lot of times when we see surveillance, surveillance is expensive. They're paying a person to sit in a car for hours on end outside of your house, your apartment, your whatever, and wait and wait and wait. And if it's a day that the Godfather trilogy is on A&E and you decide you're not getting your ass out of bed, you're going to watch The Godfather front to back and back to front and eat a tuna fish sandwich, and you're not going to get up except to go to the bathroom, that person's going to be sitting outside your house all day with bills racking up, doing nothing. So what do? They want to try to, they're going to pick the days where they have a good idea that you're going to be going somewhere or doing something, right? They don't want to waste their time. They want to spend their money wisely. And how on earth would they know when you're going to leave your house to go somewhere? Well, maybe they know from your medical reports when your follow-up doctor's appointments are. That happens a lot. So when you go see the doctor on March 15th, he might say, well, we saw Joe Schmo on March 15th, and he's doing a little bit better, and he's still walking with a limp and this, that, and the other thing. And he has a follow-up appointment to come back on May 15th. Well, now they might know that you're going to be leaving your house on May 15th to go see your doctor. They might put surveillance on you that day. When else do they know that you're going to have there's a stronger possibility of you leaving your house? Well, back in the live court days, they knew when your hearings were. So oftentimes we would be watching surveillance, and the surveillance would follow the person into the Workers' Compensation Board parking lot or the Workers' Compensation Board building. On many occasions, they'd say, hey, there's my car, because they're at the place that I'm already at, because they would follow you to and from court and watch your behavior walking in and out of the building and how you conducted yourself. And they'd sometimes follow you into the building and check you out to see if there's any discrepancies into your conduct and how you carried yourself. But what's the third way that they know where you're going to be? IMEs. The insurance company sets up an appointment for you to see their doctor. They know exactly where you're going to be on that date and that time. And those are prime times for them to surveil you. So be careful, be vigilant, as they say. So multiple claims, big, it's a topic that we could spend the whole day on. But be careful with surveillance. Be careful with what you tell your doctors, what you tell the board, and what you tell the IMEs. And it's a prime time, especially those IMEs, for surveillance. So be careful. And the last one, if they suspect fraud, which the flip side is if you're committing fraud, expect that they're going to be on you. They're not stupid. The insurance companies are not stupid. Be smart. Well, first of all, I mean, listen, I would never, you be smart. Don't committing insurance fraud is a crime. At the end of the day, if you're found by a judge to have committed a violation of Section 114A of the Workers' Compensation Law, insurance fraud, technically they can refer your case to the DA and you can get arrested. And we don't want any part of that. So be smart. Don't commit a crime. But if you're doing something that's fishy, talk to your lawyer about it. Stop it if you think it's completely wrong. And you should be forewarned. They're probably going to find you. Sorry, folks. I got this lingering thing still with me. Catherine made a face. I'm not allowed to cough. So that said, what triggers a surveillance investigation of a workers' compensation case? Certain things will trigger the insurance company. The red flag will ping pop up and make them say, hey, maybe something's up here. Sudden changes in medical status, spikes in cost, unforeseen treatments. So, if you've been plugging along and everything, your bad back has been doing okay with physical therapy, and next thing you know, there's a change in your condition, or a change in the treatment and the cost of those treatments, that's a little bit out of line. They're going to give you a second look. Right before an IME, a hearing, or settlement negotiations are prime times for them to potentially have somebody on you. Generally speaking, they're going to want to build a little bit of a surveillance case. So, if you have an IME coming up, it doesn't mean that the day before and the day of they're going to be on you. It's possible they can be on you for a week or two before, and you got to just be vigilant and careful and mindful of that. This is something we see a lot. Reports from coworkers, neighbors, anonymous tips, people ratting you out. Don't be a dick to your coworkers and neighbors. Be nice to them. This way they won't rat you out. And don't do anything that is worthy of being ratted out for. That's really the big tip. Don't do wrong. Don't be bad. Be good. But yeah, they sometimes get tips. The scorned wife, girlfriend, we've seen that happen. Yes, coworkers, people who you have an issue with we've seen it happen where they make a phone call, that anonymous phone call. Behavior that doesn't match your doctor's restrictions. So that's really where things come up. Social media, keep it on your social media. If your doctors are saying that you shouldn't be doing any strenuous activity, and you go to Cozumel and they have you paragliding, parasailing or paragliding, they have you doing things like that. And you post it, then first of all, you shouldn't be doing it, and second of all, you shouldn't be posting it. Be smart. Listen to your doctors. Be honest with your doctors when you're giving them your restrictions and your capabilities. If you feel like you can only walk 5 blocks, don't tell them 2, because it's going to make it in their report. And if they have you on surveillance walking 3, now you're lying. So you got to be careful. Social media. Well, I'm looking at my notes, and that was the next thing I know. Social media posts showing activities beyond your claim limits, and remind people. Sai is giving me a reminder. Thank you, Sai, that we have a separate video on social media. And maybe if Sai could find the link, we'll throw it up there, and you can click there to watch that video later. But yes, we have a whole different video on social media. Social media I get that we have fun sitting around on downtime, and some people do it on non-downtime. Or if you're sitting on the throne and you want to go through the gram, fine. If you want to watch me on Instagram, great. I understand the enjoyment and a little bit of education and laughing at memes and pictures of or videos of kids falling down that make me chuckle. I don't know why. I hate, especially just as long as they don't get hurt. But social media causes more problems than it solves. So be mindful. How would I know if I'm being followed by an investigator? And the funny thing is, and I see Chris posted over here. I see a couple comments coming up, and I know a lot of my clients, not a lot, but there's a few of my clients who are being followed by investigators who already know it. And they call me and they say, This guy's he's outside my house again. Okay, well, if you're if you're uncomfortable and you're not sure if that's an investigator and something's up, call the police. I don't know what to tell you. But how would you know if you're being followed by an investigator? Um, it's something you need to be aware of. Most times you won't. Most investigators are retired police or somebody in a similar type of background, and they know what they're doing. So most of the time, you don't know you're being followed. And if it's a car that you recognize, guess what? They switch cars. They switch investigators. I'd say 99% of the case. I can't remember one where it's not, but I'm not going to say 100% because nothing is absolute. But 99% of the cases, you have at least two investigators submitting reports. Why? Because they switch it off. They change it up. Different people, different cars, different patterns. So most of the time, you won't even know that you're being followed. They do it to be invisible. They blend. You're not knowing that they're following you until it's too late. Surveillance can happen at any time, early, late, on weekends. It's not a 9 to 5 thing, especially if they start patterning you. If you're the type of person that doesn't get out of bed all day because you're hurt and 8 o'clock rolls around and you get up, jump in the shower, and at 9, 10 o'clock, you go out the door and get a bite to eat and go hang out with your friends. Once they learn that pattern, they're going to be out there at 9, 10 o'clock watching you go hang out with your friends. They know what they're doing. You might notice some unfamiliar cars parked in your neighborhood with people sitting in them. That's a good sign. And if those cars change and you see people sitting in them, that's usually a good sign. Most of my clients who identify that they're being surveilled, that's the tip off. There's a car on my block. He was there yesterday, and he was there 2 days last week, and then there was a different car in between for 2 days, and there's always somebody sitting there. Yeah. So if it's not you, it's somebody else on the street. Friendly strangers fishing for info. Investigators will knock on doors. They will knock on your neighbor's door and say, "Hey, does Mr. Jones live next door? Yeah. What's he up to? I've been trying to get a hold. I'm his friend from the army, and I've been trying to get a hold of him, and he hasn't answered my call. So I figured I would come by, but I see he's not home. Is he at work? You see that beautiful backstory to get to the point? Oh yeah, he went to work today. Oh, where does he work? Oh, he works over there at that blah blah blah. Well, boom, there you go. So friendly, super friendly strangers fishing for information. We've seen it happen. I could tell you stories for days about how they smile their way into your life and to destroy you. And again, if you're being deceitful, if you're lying, if you are committing fraud, you shouldn't be. And I'm not going to say you deserve it, but these are the things that I'm talking to the innocent, clean bunch out there, just to tell you what you need to look out for. I am absolutely in no way condoning committing fraud or teaching you how to get around it, because that's just wrong. They can legally film you in public and may include your family in the footage as well. Yes, we've seen that a lot. It's always the husband carrying the grocery bag for the wife. That we see it all the time. Oh, the guy, your client says he can't do any heavy lifting, and here he is carrying 4 shopping bags. Well, he's being his wife's husband. He's carrying his wife's groceries. He's helping her, and that's, but we see that all the time, carrying the groceries. But again, it could come at any time, any place. Be super careful. What can I do to protect myself if the workers' compensation insurance company is watching me? What can you do? Be open and honest with your doctor. Let's start with that. Well, first of all, let's start with be open and honest with the workers' compensation board. When you file your case, if you have pre-existing medical conditions, make sure that you put them on there. Prior accidents, prior injuries. Make sure it's all listed on your claim form. Next, be upfront and open and honest with your doctor about what you can and can't do. If you can't walk 3 blocks, don't tell them that you can only walk 1 block. Or if you can walk 3 blocks, be honest. It's going to come out in all the medical anyway. So little things like that are they're little tiny little things that could cause huge damage and do very little good. If you tell your doctor or the insurance company doctor, I can only walk 1 block, and they catch you walking 3 blocks, it's going to destroy your case. Whereas If no one ever uncovered the fact that you can't walk any more than a block, excuse me, how much benefit is that to you? It's minimal. It's the most slight. It's not the conversion to the dollar value is minimal. It's just not worth it. The risk does not it's far riskier than it's worth. It's just simple as that. Don't lie. The medical is going to show it. Your MRIs, your testing, your IME. They're going to compare the IME with your. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So be upfront and open with your doctors. Be upfront and open with the insurance company's doctors about your capabilities. This way, there's no lies. Be consistent with your paperwork, your behavior, social media. Okay, it is what it is. Just shut off your social media. I mean, honestly, we did a whole video on it, and at the end of the day, my tip of the day there is always going to be my tip of the. Shut down your social media, please. I listen. I like watching the pre-produced fun, but no one gives a crap that you had veal parm for dinner last night. Your friends really don't like you that much to know what you ate for dinner, or even care. How was your vacation? It was great. Here's 2 pictures. Great. No one cares that much about anybody else's life that they need to be submerged in it. So social media is garbage. Thank you. Except for the Law Officer Rex Sikowski on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. If you have good and bad days, make sure you tell your doctors that you have some good days and bad days. Make sure you tell the insurance company doctors that you have good days and bad days. Let them put it in their reports. This way, if they catch you on a good day, skipping down the street, they're not going to use it against you, or it's going to have less weight. And hopefully they catch you on a bad day where you're skipping with a cane. Don't try to tough it out in public. And again, this goes back to the carrying the bags for your wife thing. And it's admirable, but if you can't do it, don't force yourself, because you can only hurt yourself further, and it's only going to hurt your case. So, be smart. I'm sorry about all the coughing. I was a disaster last week after I saw you guys. But we're going to dive into some questions right now. I see them coming in. And as always, Sai always sums it up nicely. Don't forget to like the video if you found my information helpful. If you found this valuable, like me, like our video, and subscribe. I like subscribers. So let's see what we got here. Kelly. Hi, Rex. Is it law in New York State that if you ask them who are you, they have to answer you, or do you just call police for a suspicious vehicle? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sorry. That might be more of a. I mean, if it's police, I believe if you ask a cop if they're a cop, do they have to identify themselves? And I don't even know if that's true. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm going to tell you that if there's a suspicious vehicle on your street or somebody following you that's making you feel uncomfortable and you think that there might be criminal activity afoot, yeah, call the cops. If you know it's surveillance, I mean, if you know it's surveillance, then that's a whole different story. But yeah, if you're being followed and you're scared, call the cops. I was told that over 20 years ago, I wasn't sure. I was told that over 20 years ago, I wasn't sure if correct or not. They do still watch sometimes, even though I'm perm total for lifetime. Yeah, you can be perm total for lifetime. I always want to just sit in my driveway with a liquor bottle filled with water, sitting in a chair. That would be awesome. Call me if you do that. I'm there. Just keep chugging water. Yeah, permanent total is permanent total. They're on the hook to pay you for the rest of your life if you're permanent total here in New York State. And if they can show that you're committing fraudulent behavior or whatever, however you want to phrase it, potentially they have the ability with an adverse finding to you. If the judge finds that you've committed a 114A violation, insurance fraud, you could potentially lose all of your financial benefits for the rest of your life. You would still be entitled to medical treatment, but that would save them a shit ton of money. So yeah, they are still going to watch you. This guy used to work for UPS. He's the retired UPS guy. Rex, I've done a physical and psychological IME, both in my favor. Now they are sending me to a neuro IME. If this also shows my favor, what's the chance of the insurance company wanting to settle? The neuro will show nerve damage. How good do you think the case is? I need a lot more information to know how good your case is. I need to know the facts of your case. I need to know which insurance company we're talking about, what stage you're at in your case. So if you want to call me and go over it, 212-406-8989. That's me, Rex Sikowski. We do represent a bunch of UPS guys, so I know what you guys are going through. I do know your insurance company, most likely. Gilbert Figueroa is here, though. If I'm back at work on light duty, might they still use surveillance? They might, but it's less likely. That's really the nutshell answer there. My Cliff Notes answer. They might, but it's less likely. But you should still be careful. You should always be careful. You should always be honest. Grant, hello. Glad to be here. Been watching you since my case has been open. What's for all? I think it's that. Thanks for all your help. 5 stars for you. Thank you. 5 stars for you. I hope you feel better soon. Grant, having a case sucks. Being on workers' compensation sucks. I'm sorry for you, but I'm happy I can help you. That's what I'm here to do. Jeff, I wish you were here in Arizona. I wish I was there in Arizona too. You got Cactus League baseball. You got a dry heat. You got good golf. You lost your hockey team, so I can't really feel that. But other than that, I wish I was there too. So thank you, Jeff. I wish you were in Arizona. MRI, CT scan, X-rays show my injury is still active. Torn hamstring and pelvic area. Oh, I have bad hammies, so I that's pain. But having difficult time finding an attorney. Really? Give me a call on Monday. Give me a call tomorrow. I don't know if I have Catherine. Oh, Catherine. Catherine is acting like she doesn't hear me. So we're going to do the rubber band on the glass trick. Do we have anybody in Arizona? She's checking. Give us a call. I don't know if it's a summer beard. I was sick last week and I didn't really. Yes, call Arizona. Call us. I didn't feel like shaving completely this morning. My daughter loves. She likes the either no beard or what, I don't know. So I always change it around because it keeps her on her toes. Where's your beard, Dad? I have an IME tomorrow for consequential low back. MRI results states that I have L3, 4, 5, S1. Wow, that's all of them except for L1, 2. Hopefully it works in my favor. Will, I hope so too. Good luck, my friend. I see a couple popping in here on IG. What is an expedited hearing? JN868 is asking. My case is being controverted. Thank you very much. Expedited. So certain cases, certain controverted cases here in New York State, controverted workers' compensation cases, if they fall within a certain parameters, they're expedited. They put them on the expedited track. They used to call it the rocket docket. Fancy, useless. To try to get your case moved through the system quickly if if it meets certain criteria. If your case has any type of confusion, difficulty, complications, the judge will take it off the expedited calendar, put it on the regular calendar. And so it's easy to topple off the expedited list. If there's any, it's just funny when they say, well, this case is too complicated to be expedited. We're taking it off. But it really means nothing. It gives your case will be taken care of slightly faster. Truth's dad. It's been almost 6 months since my injury, low back. I went to an IME and they said 0% disability. Does that mean that my case is done? No. What does your doctor have to say about it? Talk to your doctor. Listen, here in New York, and I'm sure it's the same or similar everywhere else, when you go to see an IME, the IME doctor is supposed to send that IME report to you, your lawyer, and your doctor. So your doctor should know what that IME is saying. It doesn't mean that they did. It doesn't mean that he read it. It doesn't mean that he read it yet. It doesn't mean a lot of things. So if you're confused or if you have questions about your IME and how that plays into your own doctor's reports and treatments and opinions, bring them the IME. Bring them and we do it all the time, whether it's an IME that might not be favorable, whether it's a denial of a request for treatment that's in the board file. What I do is I print it out. I show the client where the issue is, and I say, here, You want to go have a discussion with your doctor about it. This is where they're denying. This is where they're giving you a hard time. This is the problem. And, show your doctor the IME. Let him review it. It's fine. We have Callahan here. This is Big Tom Callahan's son. Good afternoon, Rex. My doctor gave me 30% during my SLU visit on November 24th, and now I still got no final decision of Section 32. The carrier delays every time paperwork does the insurer. If you got 30% SLU, but you're trying to 32 the case, you're probably just waiting for paperwork. Ask your lawyer what the status is. Ask your lawyer why there's a delay there. You should have an answer to that. Alicia Ray, thank you for the advice on food stamps and getting a TTD check. I let my lawyers know everything. I'm glad I helped. JNE68, insurance denied my claim bedside. I think it's because of horseplay. I injured myself stepping off a platform. I didn't use a ladder. Could that affect my case? It shouldn't, because you fixed it. No, it should not. It should not. Horseplay is actually... I don't know why they use horseplay as a defense, because there is some level of horseplay that's permissible in the workplace. We all F around at work sometimes. Problems can happen. If I'm sitting here shooting imaginary baskets with my baseball and it knocks me on the head, well, maybe that's compensable. So horseplay doesn't automatically preclude you from getting benefits. And if you fell off something and you should have used a ladder and you didn't use a ladder, it shouldn't block you from getting benefits either. The rule on that is only if you purposefully violated a direct rule or regulation. So if your boss said you are never to do that job without a ladder, and you strolled over there and did it without a ladder, if there was an express rule and you violated it, then maybe you would be precluded from getting benefits, but it's very rare. So I wouldn't sweat that. Paul Vasquez, I did the SCS. What's an SCS, folks? Spinal cord stimulator. I did the trial run. It didn't help much. Will turning it down hurt me? Okay, well, Paul, before I answer your question, the answer is no. But let me explain everything Paul's talking about, because he's talking from the position of a guy who knows what he's talking about. An SCS is a spinal cord stimulator. It's a device that's implanted in your body permanently to stimulate your spinal cord to promote healing and feeling good, feeling groovy. Before you get a permanent spinal cord stimulator, you get a temporary spinal cord stimulator, which is not implanted in your body. I don't think it is, actually. It's outside your body, but the leads are in your body. So they give you you have to get a psychological assessment to make sure that you're psychologically prepared to deal with it. And then you get a temporary, and if the temporary goes well, you get the permanent. The reason for the reason why there's a step in the middle, a temporary, is because if it doesn't help, you don't have to get the permanent. So if it's not helping you, if you don't want it, you don't have to have it. Nobody's forcing you to get treatment. Nobody's forcing you to get an SCS. Nobody's forcing you to have surgery. So I wouldn't worry about it. Talk to your lawyer. Talk to your doctor. There he is, Chris, the man. There is surveillance on me 24 hours a day, which I feel is harassment. I have been on comp almost 4 years. Yes, and they have been watching me for 3 years. It's not one person, but groups of people in cars. I don't think they're on you 24 hours a day, though. 24 hours a day for 3 years, and they still haven't pulled the trigger. Again, insurance companies are in the business of saving themselves money. So once they had enough on you, they would have pulled the trigger. So that's a lot of surveillance that they're spending a lot of money on, if it's in fact them. So just just give it some thought about what's going on. For them to be following you I've never seen them follow a client 24 hours a day. I've never seen them follow a client for 3 years. That's all I'm going to say there. So maybe it's something else. Maybe your neighbor, somebody up the street, it's wanted by the federales or something like that. But that's a lot of surveillance. That would cost them an enormous amount of money to surveil you that much and not pull the trigger on bringing you in for a hearing on it. So be careful, Chris, because I don't want to lose you to anything, because you're a great contributor and you're here every week and I love you. Kelly Fraud pisses me off because I suffered terribly since 1999. I heard one of the guys working on my roof talking about how he was on workers' comp. Yeah, that's the problem. You know, it's the old adage, a few bad apples spoil the bunch, and it's true. Um, it's very true. Yes. You know, the people who get surveilled and get nailed for fraud, it's always like well, I don't want to say it's always a minor thing. I've seen some bigger ones, but so many of them are good people who carried their wife's shopping bags one time too many, or drove the car too far, who pushed themselves just trying to get by in life, and they got screwed. And it's a lot of good people that get caught up in this, and which is why we're having this discussion. And then you hear about these guys that are completely lying and duping the system, and they skate by like nothing ever happened. And yeah, it's frustrating. Jeff, can they video you while you're in your 6-foot tall, blocked, fenced in backyard? If it's visible in public, they can do it. I don't know the specifics of the law there, but if it's visible in public, they can do it, which raises questions about drone usage and things like that. I haven't seen it yet, but I can only imagine that it's coming. Sai, we said it before, and we'll say it again. Why? Because this is important. Don't forget to like the video if you found this valuable. Don't forget to subscribe. Sigma, I just joined with RS Law Firm. Best decision of the year. My last firm was doing nothing. If you're on Rex's law firm, join Rex. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That deserves a gold star. Yay. Thank you. That was nice. Yes, we've been getting a bunch of calls, and listen, I try to help as many people as I can, and I do feel bad when I can't help everybody, but we just I'm a single solo guy here doing the best he can. Just please understand. I try to help everybody I can. Retired UPS. Do cumulative trauma to multiple body parts cause nerve damage and mental trauma? Seems better. The worse your disability, the correlation is to a higher payout, generally speaking. So yes. Do psychiatric visits help my case? I use Medicaid, but because my psychiatrist refuses workers' comp, you're in a very sticky area there. If your psychiatric disability is related to your workers' compensation case, then they should be going through workers' compensation. If your psychiatrist knows that and agrees with that, then they should either bill workers' compensation or refer you to a different psychiatrist. Keeping you in billing Medicare for something that they know is work-related treatment is wrong. Sigma. Hi, Rex. I forgot to ask you on Tuesday during our meeting about child support being deducted on my workers' compensation checks. I thought it would only be deducted at the conclusion of my case. It could be at the conclusion, and it could be along the way. It could go either way. So call me, and we'll talk about it. But if you owe child support, yes, they take it out of your checks. And whether it's out of the end final settlement or taking a weekly amount out, they could do both. So that's the answer to that question. One Hot Records. Wiki. Hey, Rex, I have a pre-trial conference next week. My workers' compensation claim was denied from day one due to my employer misclassifying me as a contractor, probably an independent contractor. We have them dead to rights, and the defense attorney knows it. What are the chances they'll settle to start benefits before trial? They're good. Listen, we've had many a trial where, and I can't tell you how much it drives me bananas, where I'm prepping a trial. We prep our cases, a week or two in advance, depending on what the calendar's looking like. So, we prep this hearing and we prep the trial and we get the client in and we do a trial prep with him on what testimony is going to go and questions that we're going to ask and the questions to expect from the other attorney. And we prep and prep and prep. And let me tell you something. I've been doing this a long time. I still get nervous. I still get a little anxiety. I don't want to F up your case. I want to give you the best that I got, and I want to do a good job, and I want to win every case. And going into a trial, and the day I stopped getting nervous a little bit, listen, I'm not like hamstrung with nerves here, But the day that goes away, then I know that I'm done doing what I'm doing, because that should always be there. It's like a baseball player getting up to the plate. Bases loaded, 2 outs. You should have some nerves. You should have a little anxiety. That's what keeps you on your toes. So I'm fine with that. But that being said, I don't love it. And you prep these cases, and then you walk in, or you log in now to court, and the insurance company attorney goes, "Oh, by the way, we're accepting liability on the case." And I go, "Damn it, I prepped the hell out of this thing. And I was ready to go, and I got myself all worked up." But it's great. So to answer your question, it happens pretty regularly, especially if they, a lot of times insurance companies will controvert a case with based upon the fact that they got little information from the employer, and they're just protecting themselves. Listen, we don't know what's going on. We didn't get a lot of info. The employer told us this is a bullshit case, so let's controvert it and go from there. And then as time goes on, and the employer starts or the insurance company investigates a little more, and they get more information out of the employer, yeah, well, maybe it did happen, or maybe it's not worth controverting. Maybe it's not worth the litigation, or the employer recites the facts, and he might think that you're an independent contractor, but after he tells the insurance company what the facts are, it's clear that you're not an independent contractor, and they'll withdraw the controversy. So, it does happen. Retired UPS, you're in California. We have California attorneys that can help you out. Will Dollars, have I ever dealt with Crum and Forster? I think you asked me this last week, and yes. And I smiled then too. Big B. Also, Big B, let's say I know it's illegal, but what if you find a tracker on my vehicle? I know it was them because I've noticed same cars, same people. Is there anything you could do? Call the cops. They're putting a tracking device on your vehicle. Is it legal for surveillance to spread bad rumors about me? Unfortunately, I don't have any direct evidence. Do I have to hire a defamation attorney? I mean, you're going to need evidence of that. Yeah. Got hit by a forklift at work, causing me to have a bimalleolar fracture in my ankle. I had surgery the next day. I'm in Florida. What are my chances of getting a big settlement? I hope you have a lawyer for a bimalleolar fracture. And if you don't, call me, because we have great attorneys in Florida that can help you out. But you should get compensated nicely. A bimal fracture is a big injury, and that sucks. Call me if you need help. 212-406-8989. Few more here, folks. Asian Adventure 916 in California. How long does it take the judge to sign and approve a settlement? You know what? I had a bunch of clients come in this week to sign settlement documents, and I know that you're in California, so my answer doesn't even apply, because I don't know in California. But normally when somebody comes in to sign settlement documents and they say how long, what I do is I look at the list of hearings that I'm currently preparing, or I'm looking at my calendar for this week. So I see which cases are coming up for settlement now, this week or next week or in 2 weeks, and when did I submit the papers. And when I spoke to this one person earlier this week, we're getting a hearing next week for a case that we submitted settlement documents on April 24th. So 3 weeks ago, we're getting a hearing turnaround, which is awesome. And also next week, we are having a hearing on a case where I submitted settlement documents to the board on February 14th. So that's, if you use those facts to answer your question, or help me answer your question. Why IME doctor stop bothering me? Is it good for my settlement? Why does he stop bothering you? You should be happy about that. I don't understand your question, to be honest. Is it normal you fight a case versus 3 other attorneys? It can be, especially if they're claiming that you work for somebody else, independent contractor, subcontractor, general contractor. Yeah, it could be. Callahan, I know you said I skipped your questions. You asked a whole bunch of them. I'm being selective here. I want to get to everybody. Everyone deserves a chance. Like AB. I just had another back injury at work. The first one years ago, they refused to treat me any longer. Put me on accommodations and back to work. They don't always want to honor those accommodations. I know. You were a good worker doing the job that you did, and now you can't do that job anymore. And they remember the great guy that you were, and they want that guy back. So they start giving you those same job duties back. And yeah, I get it. Unfortunately, that's where you need to protect yourself and make sure you speak to your doctor. So important. You have a lawyer. A Florida bimal fracture has a lawyer. Good. Good. Important. Just Angie. This isn't just anybody. This is just Angie. Scheduled for an MMI appointment. What should I expect and what to follow? May 30th will be 2 years with my case. MMI appointments, they're assessing you for permanent disability. So I don't know what your injuries are, but it's usually range of motion testing. It's an evaluation pursuant to the guidelines to determine how much permanent disability you have. Mr. Sir Bubblegum. What are the chances of getting a settlement for a neck injury, C5-6? They denied my surgery, hired Morgan & Morgan. Is Morgan & Morgan handling the workers' comp? Because I don't think they are. I don't think they do comp. They farm it out. What are your chances of... I need to know your lost time, your salary. There's a lot of factors that I would need to know here to give you a more specific answer. Adrian Dean. Hi, Rex. I'm a Leo in Florida. I tore my ACL in a LEO. He's a law enforcement officer in, I'm assuming, Florida. That's funny. I tore my ACL in the pursuit of work. Workers' comp doctors forced me to return to work, and I am still experiencing a lot of pain. What should I do? If you're feeling pain, go see your doctors. And if you have a lawyer, talk to your lawyer about what the possible steps are, whether, how to get what you need to get through this medically and with work. Cyber, I skipped you because you're before AB. Yes, you are. I'm waiting on a hearing from my lawyer, but I'm on short-term disability and it's not enough money. If I get a job, will it mess up the potential of me getting a workers' compensation? It could potentially mess you up, but if you're able to do it, if you're able to work, you should generally work. I would recommend you talk to your lawyer, let him know what it is you're looking at, and get his input there, because potentially you could go back to work, even if it's a light-duty job, and it might not impact your workers' compensation case, but you have disability. You have a lot of factors in play here that you want to make sure you talk to your lawyer about. And then we have Ted. Hi, Rex. I was a new hire, and like a week in, I had an accident, and now my workers' compensation is going through a denial for lack of proof that I worked in that job and medical bills. You're covered from the day you start, the minute you start your first day of your whatever. So you should be covered. Proof of employment is important, though. If they have a way to hang their hat on something showing that you didn't work that day or you weren't working there, they're going to go for it and they're going to try to stick it to you. But try to get whatever proof you can. Texts. If it was your first day on the job, your first week of the job, what'd you say? It was your first day? Move out of the way. A week. Do you have texts with your employer, texts with coworkers? Did you fill out your tax documentation to start a new job? The voicemails? Do you have any proof that you were working that might help you? All right, folks. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm still not 100%. I'm like 90%, but the cough is lingering, and I'm just shot. But I hope you guys had a good week. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful Thursday afternoon. We're going to be back next week. Cy, let's hit it. When are we going to be back? Next week, May 21st is a day. May 22nd is a day. You pick them. You pick them. Let's do May 22nd, Thursday, May 22nd, 4 p.m. Live from New York. It's me. Thursday, folks, we'll see you in a week. May 22nd, 4 p.m. We're working on some really good topics too. We get calls, we get input, and you guys, I try to take the topics that I'm getting a lot of questions about, and we try to put those together and make those into our videos to try to answer your questions as best as we can. And then we open up the floor to those types of issues. But as always, if you have any questions about anything workers' compensation related, workers' compensation, personal injury, Social Security, we don't do Social Security here ourselves, but we have some great friends who can help you with that. Any questions you have, we're here to help. We want to try to be how much should I look for in workers' compensation if you're suffering a heart attack? Heart attack's like a back case. What's your lost time? If you went back to work 2 weeks later, you're going to get paid for 2 weeks of lost time. If you can never work again, call me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make a joke about a heart attack case, but and they're difficult cases because it's hard to prove that your heart attack is work related. But you really should give me a call. 212-406-8989. And with that, folks, I love you all. Thank you for your time. We will see you next week. And let's go Mets. Bye.